Hi guys, it's Night Fear, and I've come on to do my wrap up for the Library-A-Thon. And yes, I'm a little late because this actually ended on the 9th of June. So, yeah. But, so there were 6 challenges and I completed 5 of them. So I will share the books that I read for this challenge. Or for this readathon. The first challenge was to read a book in a country that I've never read before. And for this one, I chose Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed. This was an excellent book. It was actually recommended by Books Are My Soul. Or Books Are My Soul. Yeah. Books Are My Social Life. And he is actually the one who hosted this readathon too. So that was pretty cool. So this book is a contemporary. I usually don't read contemporaries, but when he was saying what this was about, it sounded really cool. So I decided to pick it up, and just so happened that my library had it. So this book is about this girl named Nyla, and her parents are they're actually all living in the United States, but her parents are originally from Pakistan. And of course, they are very strict, cultural-wise. They basically told her she could do whatever she wanted, but when it come to, picking a boyfriend or a husband, that they were to pick, and that she wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend, she wasn't allowed to date. She is a 17, if I remember right, years old, and so she ends up falling in love with this boy at school. His name is Saif. I hope that's pronounced right. And her parents end up finding out and tell her that they're going on a vacation to Pakistan, and it ends up being that they're there to find her a husband. It was parts of this book were very intense. Just by what was going on, and also that I know that this happens, and still even to this day, and that there are still arranged marriages, there are still things like that. It is a cultural thing, but I don't know. I can't really speak a lot of that because it's not my culture. But if any of you have gone through this or know people that have gone through this, maybe you can give me your opinion in the comments. But like I said, the book was really good. It touched on quite a few subjects. I ended up rating this book a 4. I felt some things were not explained to me as a reader that had no idea what this culture was about. And some things weren't explained quite as well as I thought they might be. And so, anyway, but it's an excellent book, and I definitely would recommend it. And I gave it 4 stars. So if you're looking for a different kind of a book, a contemporary book, a book set first in the United States, but then they go to Pakistan, and there's a lot about Pakistan in this book. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, the next challenge was to read a book that I never heard of. And I told the story when I did my TBR that when I was waiting for Kaylin to pick her books at the library, I noticed this book. And see, originally I wasn't going to do this readathon, but I'm very glad that I did. But I saw this book. I mean, because it's, well, let's see. It says Girl from the Well, and there's this, black bird on the side, and I like creepy, spooky books. And so I thought I'd try. I'd never heard of this author. And so I decided I would try it. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. Come to find out, this book is actually based roughly around a ghost story, a Japanese ghost story, which I'm not going to tell the ghost story because it's actually in the book. they actually do some research and it tells you about the story. So I'm not going to spoil it for you, but basically it's about Okuko. She is this girl who died traumatically. Also not going to tell you exactly how because it's in the book. And now she is a spirit that protects children. She kills those that hurt children or that kill children. And so it's a very, very powerful book. And as she's going along, doing, what she does, she sees this boy. And his name is Tarquin. He goes by Tark. And he has these tattoos on his arms. He tries to hide them, but it says in several, he's always pulling down his long sleeves to hide these tattoos. And she sees this spirit behind him, and so she's curious, and so she follows him along, and then of course as she follows him along, we follow her along, and we find out what the tattoos are, what the spirit behind him is, how he got the spirit behind him, and then we also meet his cousin Callie, who also is very important to the story. And we meet his mom and dad, and his mom is actually in an asylum. And it's kind of a creepy book. I wouldn't say it's scary. It's just kind of creepy. And it's different because I haven't really read any Japanese, type stories. And you get these creepy dolls, and it's a really good story, and I really recommend it. I gave it a 4 because it did drag a little bit here and there, but all in all, it was really well. And she has actually written, I don't think it says in here, does it? No, because this was her first book. There actually, in the library, there was another one. I think it was the Bone Witch, I think is what it was called by her. And I'm actually going to get that one. I want to get that one and read that one too and see if I like that one because I enjoyed this one so much. Okay, the next one, the rest of these I'm going to have to get from my Kindle. I did read 2 more, but I had to take them back to the library. You know how that goes. But I did get the covers. Oh, and I shouldn't have. Okay, that's all right. We'll work around it. So the next one I read, it says Out of Your Comfort Zone. The one type of book that I really don't like to read is mystery. And so I was trying to find a mystery book. And because I get ebooks from my library, and on that site, I looked up mystery, and this actually popped up. And yes, it is a historical romance. I would say it's a historical romance with a mystery element. So this might not exactly have fit the challenge, but I did borrow it. It was an ebook from the library, and so I read it. And it's The Scarlet Gown by Sarah Mallory. Okay? And so basically, and strangely enough, I have actually another book that I'm reading for the summer romance bingo, yes, I think that's how it goes, which I'm going to be doing the TBR for that, hopefully next. But I got another book, it's almost exactly the same as this one. It was really strange, the premise, and I didn't even realize it when I checked out the 2 books. It's very strange. But anyway, so basically, this one is about this girl. Her name is Lucy Halbrick, and her father died at the beginning. I mean, you're told about it the very first couple pages of the book. But her father died, basically leaving her mother and her penniless. So they're living with her aunt and her uncle, and her uncle is actually harassing her, and she's afraid her uncle is going to take advantage of her. So she goes to this, I don't know what you call them, but she goes to this agency, so looking for a job as like a governess, or like a paid ladies companion or something like that they used to do, and this of course is set in England, so it's typical historical romance setting, and so she goes to apply for this position, and it ends up, the position that she gets is for Lord Adversane, and it's to be his fake fiance. But he doesn't tell her, and this is the mystery part, is he's trying to figure out, because he had a wife and she died, was it a year before, 2 years before? No, I think it was a year before. And he doesn't think that she died in the way that everybody thinks she did. So there's I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but that's the mystery part of it. And so it's just a really, really good book. I mean, it's a typical historical romance. I really, really enjoyed it. And I gave it a 4. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I really like historical romances. I always have. I mean, they're little silly pleasure reads, but I really enjoy them. So, okay, let me get to the next one. The next one is something that I've been meaning to read, and for this one I used 13 Reasons Why. And I actually did a discussion video on this book, and I will link it down below. And if you have not watched it, I really hope that you do. A lot of people that have watched it have left comments thanking me for the things that I say in the video. So even if you don't like the book, maybe go and watch that and see what I say, because I really enjoyed the book. And this is horrible. Let's see if I can, hold on. There we go. Okay. So I really enjoyed this book. And I just really enjoyed the book. Now, I'm not going to go into very much detail because I have, like I said, did this discussion video and I did tell you what it was about. So, but anyway, and I did give this a 4, I think. Yeah, I gave it a 4. I mean, the writing sometimes is a little, I don't know. And then also, I don't like because it goes from her part to his part. Her part's italicized, his part isn't. And sometimes it's when you're reading it and not really focusing, you're into the story and you're not really focusing on the writing change like that. It kind of brings you out of the story. And I didn't like that. But like I said in the discussion video, I'm not exactly sure how else. It's by Jay Asher. 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I don't know how he would have done that better. So, but I really enjoyed the book. Okay, so the last one is recommended by a librarian. And at the time, I didn't have a library recommendation for this one, but I had this one from the library, and I really wanted to read it. And later, after I did my TBR video, Becky, trying to remember her channel name. Anyway, she's actually a librarian, and so she said she would recommend this for me. So it does count. And I will actually link her channel down below too. She's pretty awesome. She's got a lot of different, because she's a librarian, she sometimes has a little bit of different take on books. So I'll link her down below. I'll also link Books for My Social Life down below too, because he's really cool. He actually lives in Trinidad, and he does have some awesome books that I've never heard of, and so I'll link that channel down below too, so you can get some different, variety of different books, because I like that. But anyway, so for this challenge, I picked this Savage Song, and she recommended it for me, and it's by Victoria Schwab. This book, I wanted to like this book. I actually gave it a 3, and at the beginning it was kind of confusing, and then, when you finally got it, it just, I don't know, it seemed like it kind of dragged here and there, and it wasn't as good as what I thought it could be. I am going to read The Dark Duet, even though people have said that this one's better than that one, but I'm going to still try it and see, because I'd like to finish the series. But this one is about, it starts off with Kate Harker, and she's basically trying to get home. Her mom has passed away. Her dad has basically sent her off to different boarding schools, and she does different things to get out of being at the boarding school, and finally he lets her come home. They live in a world, something happens, and they never really go into, they just kind of call it the incident. No, they call it something else, and I can't remember now what they call it, but that all of a sudden violence causes there to be monsters. And there's 3 different kinds of monsters. There's Corsai, which are kind of like what you think of monsters, being just kind of not really zombie type, but maybe a little zombie type. Kind of mindless, not really, planning, just kind of there and just kind of eating. That's kind of what, all they want to do is just eat. The Malkai, which are more like vampire type creatures. That's what I thought of when they introduced them. And the Soni, something like that. But, and the Soni are the ones that are not known, but that ends up being what the other main character, August Flynn, what he is, and they end up taking souls by music, different variations of music, and August actually uses a violin. So basically Kate Harker, her dad is in control of North Verity, and August Flynn, which is August Flynn, his adopted dad, is kind of in charge of the South, and there's like this border area, kind of what do they call it? Not the Strand. What do they call that? Anyway, it's kind of like a no man's land in between the two, and something caused that, and I'm not going to tell you about that either, but it's kind of interesting what causes this, and there's nothing left. All this people died and everything, and there's nothing left there. And so, anyway, August gets sent to infiltrate Kate's school because they're afraid this truce that they have been in is coming to an end, and they want to make sure that they have leverage, and everything goes horribly wrong, and it just, like I said, it's a very interesting idea. I liked the idea of monsters coming from violence, that a violent act will cause a monster to be, but I don't know, it made me sad, too, because it's the very first Victoria Schwab book I've ever read. But I'm not giving up. She's got a lot of different books, and I've seen a few that I want to read, and so, yeah, we'll press on. So, anyway, but that is the 5 books that I read, the 5 out of 6. I think I did pretty good, with all the books that I read, last month. I just, I'm starting this month off pretty strong. I've already read 8, soon to be 9, I hope. So, we're getting along. And okay, guys, so let me know down below if you've read any of these books, your thoughts on these books, if you want to read these books, if I've gotten you to read, maybe be curious about some of these books. And please be kind to each other, and I will see you in the next video.